Welcome back everyone to the How to Dominate the Chessboard series, where I play two games, one with white and with black, with bots. I don't know if I can record them play with people at the same time. I don't know if it allows it. I think there's like an extension that covers it. I could be wrong. You can let me know. And I show you my calculation process and how to think generally and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Subscribe if you like these types of videos. And also, before we go further, I had a little bit of a brain fart in the first segment of the video. You'll see it's actually kind of hilarious. So yeah, let's go to the video. Okay, we're starting the first game. We're going to be playing white with the 2000 level. You get the best games with 2000. Below that, it's actually just kind of bad, unlike some people who put it at 1000. Okay. Again, every time I say this, you need to pick your own opening. Some people play knight f3, others play e4, others play d4, c4, sometimes they play f4, or if you're disrespectful, like a3. I just play my d4, which is my opening. I play Queen's Gambit, the Catalan, and all that. d5, very common response. My advice is you learn an opening that you like. You learn it to, at first, some extent, then you can, delve deep into the lines and stuff like that. Okay, so we have knight c6. We had last time knight c6 as well. This is one of the lines. It's the Chigorin defense, which is common at the loyal level, especially there. Because, it's a simple move. You develop, a knight in the natural square. Although in d4 positions, it's better to not actually have a knight in front of a c-pawn, but behind it, because you can support the c-pawn and the center. So in d4 positions, d and c-pawns go together. That's just a small little positional advice to you know. Now, it's not a losing move, it's just a small little inaccuracy. We have e6, so basically, again, we've transposed to a Queen's Gambit decline, but the knight is on the c6 square, which is not the appropriate square. Generally, when you play an opening, here we'll play a Catalan, of course, because this is what I normally go for. And the Catalan, if you do not know what it is, it's an opening where you sack a pawn for extreme counterplay on the queen side. Now, Queen d5 is... cannot explain it. I'll just follow my opening plan. If your opponent plays interesting moves, you can just, just play your stuff. Now there's a couple moves here. I can play bishop g5 and try to win the thing, or I can play knight to c3 and just win tempo on the queen. That's just free. Free tempo. Okay, that's a move. Now we got a bunch of moves here. We actually have bishop f4, just winning even more time against the queen. But first, I think I'm just going to go for bishop b4, honestly. I can also go e4, but, he'll just move the queen again, so there's no point into going for a one-move threat. Although e4 does grab a lot of space, the point of the opening is, you play against the pawn. But I could go for e4. There's also a3 and bishop f4. E4 just kind of blocks the bishop. I can go for a lot of stuff here. Bishop f4 is tasty looking, that's for sure. I'll go e4. It's too attractive. I cannot resist. It's too attractive. I'm sorry. He'll move the queen. Yeah, he'll move the queen. I could go e5, but there's no point into committing all the pawns too much forward. I can go queen a4, trying to regain the pawn, which is just guaranteed to be won. I'll go queen a4, which, guarantees the winning of a pawn. Now he goes here. Okay, we can do a lot of things. First of all, we can just take queen trade. We can just go back and a3. There's a lot of moves we can do here. Generally, a lot of moves here. We can just take the queen trade, but we don't have to take the queen immediately, actually. I'll go back to go for a3. I want to kick out the queen. Does the bot want to draw? Wow, the bot wants to draw. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. That's a good clue to know. That's a good clue because the bot is actually kind of uncomfortable with its position. All right, we're going to go queen e2. A little bit of rotation. It's a little bit pointless. Also, it's pretty slow. But, yeah. Okay, so e5 attacks the center. We don't have to take. Like, if you see a pawn, a little bit of advice for you beginners especially, when you see a possible capture, you have to ask if the trade is good. In this case, we could take, but we don't actually gain anything from it, and they defend their c-pawn. So probably the best thing to do is take this pawn, and actually we can set a little bit of a trap. Queen takes pawn. If they take, we take, and if they go for the very seemingly free pawn, they get like destroyed. So I think I'm just good enough to take this pawn and let them take like this, which is, fine. And then we're just gonna trade and actually win a pawn, which is nice. And we've won a pawn. Our pawn back. We didn't win the pawn, but we've won our pawn back. Now he wants a queen trade. Now, in this case, the queen trade isn't that great. We do get their pieces out, and they get a development advantage. So what I'm gonna do instead is force them to trade with me. I can play bishop here, which, forces the trade, and also gets a piece out for me, which is nice. So generally, if you can trade pieces, just evaluate if you have to trade the pieces. So now, okay, bishop takes, got a nice position, I'd say. Okay, bishop b7, not bad at all. And now we can do a lot of things once more. We can just plop the knight forward. We can go with just e5, and f4 e5 looks really nice. Just taking space. I'll go f4 here, taking some space on the king side and the center. Okay, another one move attack. Beautiful. Beautiful to see. We can obviously just go back. I want my bishop to linger on the diagonal, though. I think it's a pretty good diagonal. So, but there's not really any much of counterplay. Okay, we're gonna set up a trap. We're gonna set up a bit of a trap. Okay, he goes for the bishop. He gives chase. Okay, we can just move, anywhere, basically. Let's go d2. I think d2 is fine. We can go h3. Okay, that's c4 is a good move, I guess. And now we're gonna freeze the position a little bit with a nice move, knight to d5, which I had for quite a bit. The whole point of that. Okay, there's that. I could block, in theory. Okay, so there's king here. Okay, we're probably gonna have to sack a rook or not. That's an interesting move. That's an interesting move for sure. Sacks the pawn. We can take a pawn. We can give a check, which wins as a rook, but then takes the bishop, and then it's a two-piece. Wow, this position is kind of hard, actually. Okay, the bot is playing accurately. We can take a couple ways, obviously. I'm gonna take with the bishop. If it gives a check with the knight, that's okay. It doesn't, okay. And I can go like h3 and just claim a pawn advantage, which is, good. Good in some extent. Let's go h3. If it gives us a check, we can just move up. It doesn't. Instead, it goes there. Okay, we're gonna trade. Obviously, we don't wanna lose the powerful light square bishop for nothing. And now we can play a multitude of moves like rook e1 with either move. I was a bit surprised by the bar. We're gonna analyze this later. Also, very surprising sequence of moves. Anyway, let's go back to actually calculating and giving you ideas. Generally, this series is how to calculate and finding opportunities in your games. And now we have a bunch of moves. We can go a3, obviously. We can go rook e1, which, develops a rook and gains tempo. But with which rook? Now, this move has already moved, but this rook could theoretically participate in the game. So we're going to go rook e1. Actually, we'll go rook e1. That way we'll lose a pawn. So we're going to go rook e1 this way. Just force him to make a decision. That decision. I can go king h2. I can go like e5, but then it allows opportunities with f6, which I don't really like. I'm gonna go king h2, just nice little defense. Okay, he develops the bishop, a3, move up the pawn. I gave him a little bit of time to react there, which is not great, obviously, and also a little bit of too many one move attacks by my opponent. Okay, too many one-move attacks that don't do much, really. Okay, we're given an opportunity to trade rooks. I don't really want to trade. I'll just boost my pawn, discover attack on the pawn, force him to go b6. And now we can just force in parentheses, obviously. We can just try to find an attacking move. there is a bit of a nice move here. There's obviously, taking the rook. Taking the rook is not that great, but I have a bit of a strange move to the uninitiated bishop to f3. Now, bishop to f3 is a little bit complex to understand. First of all, there is this trade. It's a bit of, complex, obviously. The whole point of this is to just go king to g2, develop the king, force the bishop to go back. And now I have plenty of moves once again. I'm probably just gonna move this pawn out of danger. I really don't want it to be under attack. A5, blocking b4. Okay, not a problem whatsoever. Be careful of playing bishop to d5 because there's rook e8 pinning you, and then you're in a little bit of trouble. There is the move bishop d4, which, trade. And there's no rook e8 because the light square bishop defends. Okay, so let's go rook d4, trade pieces, we're up a pawn, right? Okay, this is literally what I just said. Bishop takes bishop is possible because our light square bishop defends. And now, my opponent has a very bad pawn structure, and all of my pawns are in dark squares. If you're playing against a bishop, same colors, both bishops, bishop endgame, what you need to do is put all of your pawns on the opposite color complex that the other bishop controls. So, for example, light square bishop, right? The bishop for black is a light square bishop, correct? So you put all your pawns on the dark squares. That way, the bishop cannot attack them. And what you can do is set up some blockades of some sort with your bishops while you yourself bring your stuff. And now a nice little idea here, bishop to b5, controlling the light squares of your opponent. You really don't want them getting any opportunities on you, so you can just advance. Okay, my opponent is doing the exact same thing. King e4. It's a little bit cold in my room, actually, which kind of strains. There is not a great, it's not a great temperature around here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, a trade of pawns has been offered to us. If we take, we let them get into the light squares. If we don't take, then we could be a little weakened. But we could gain a pass pawn. So let's go here. Offer a trade of bishops to my opponent. Okay. I think I blundered the pawn. Okay. It's not great. I think I blundered the pawn, but I think it's still good. That's not great. Maybe not do that, Raven. Thank you very much. No, I think it's still good. Okay. I think we blundered the pawn. I could obviously just rewind. We're done. I mean, that's just rewind, I guess. That's so stupid. Okay. Okay, let's not blunder a pawn this time. Let's go king here. Okay. This is the only rewind I've done in the series. That was so stupid. Anyway, now let's actually play seriously. That was just me trolling. Definitely. Anyway, if I did go for the bishop move, then there was obviously, can I make a hypothetical move? I don't know. We'll analyze. Basically, if I go here, takes, and king hearing. Actually, I would like to see how this endgame will turn out. Let's go for this line. Let's go for this line. I'm actually kind of curious. Okay, so they don't even bother. Okay, so generally what my plan was, if they took my bishop and they took back and they went king up, we would take the pawn. They would take the pawn here, and they would have to go for the g and h pawns. We'll go for the a pawn and have two passed pawns that are just too fast. So my instinct was correct, but I don't know why I just crashed there. I don't know. I just don't know. My brain crashed. I had a brain fart. That was a little stupid. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes being 2000 doesn't mean anything. Okay. We can obviously go for the trade, but we don't really gain anything from it. So what I'm going to do instead is actually avoid the trade. I know we can simplify and our pawn advantage, obviously. But really, I mean, let's attack this pawn. Don't let him anything. Okay, he wants our pawn. I mean, take, obviously, because we're up material. We can afford the trades. And now, we can actually push there. Let's go g4. Let's go g4, just, Just not allow anything. G4. Nice move. Oh, nice move by the bot. Okay. I think G5, just no way to get to the pawn. It's pretty nice blockade we have here. Is this heading for a draw? I don't think this is heading for a draw. I think there's pretty good chances for me to win. Let's go back here to support advance with the bishop. We can move our king. Move the bishop. No, I think we're winning us for sure. Okay. Let's reroute the king to get to the pawns. Yeah, so basically what this endgame will look like is just their bishop will be a little passive, and we'll have a massive advantage. So we can play a4, just not allow them to move at all. We can play b3, we can play b3. b3 is good. b3 is really good. b3 is really good here. And then we can play like a nice little bishop c4 here, and then set up an anchor. Oh, that's really good. He doesn't go for it because it's obviously... So basically, if my opponent took, then I would take back with the king, he would take my pawn, and then would take the pawn. We can set up a nice little anchor. In endgames, anchored pawns like this are pretty much going to win you the game, because there's actually no way to, dislodge that. There's no way to dislodge this, and we're simply winning the pawns. And like I said, those pawns on the dark squares, a very long time ago, I said those pawns will be a very good strength for white, because there's no way to target them, right? And now we're simply just gonna, win. We're gonna analyze this, of course, and then we're gonna play a game with black. Nice little game to finish this off with black. He might sack the bishop. Okay, he doesn't. He thinks he has chances on the diagonal. Probably not. It's a good idea to not blunder our pawns. That would be nice. Probably not blunder a draw here, Raven, right? Okay, we can sack the b pawn to get the pawn going. Obviously, if he takes the pawn, we make a queen. He does that. Very good. Good boy. Now let's go queen to d5. This is just simply converting the advantage. We can try to calculate a mate here. Like queen g5, just not allowing anything, which is kind of nice. Nice little move. Okay, let's bring our king now. Let's bring our king closer. The king doesn't have any moves, canonically. Like, we can set up a checkmate pretty soon. There is, like, just queen h5, just setting up a checkmate. Yeah, this is just forced. And now check and mate. Yeah. Very good game, very good game. Let's analyze this. Let's hope this is not game review. Thank you. So we had a nice little opening. Now, this is, obviously a Catalan. I know the engine is arguing go for e3. e3 is okay, but you're just kind of, just blocking the dark square bishop. This is basically Catalan. Like, queen d5 was really weird. I don't understand it. Knight c3 was free tempo. I mean, we played it on the very next move. Another good move here is knight to e5, which is just a discover attack on the queen, which also forces the queen to move and give you time and improve your position. Knight to c3 is also very good. e4, okay, so e4 was right. I was yapping about, like, a3 here, which is okay, but gives away a bit of the advantage. e4, basically grabbing the space. Queen a4 was a little bit of a waste of time, but not bad at all. The engine wants queen to d1. I went queen to c2 because it makes a little bit more sense, because you can reroute and not disconnect the rooks. The bot obviously tried to go for the draw. The engine did want pawn takes, but queen takes is slightly better on a human standpoint, because this, and okay, fine, this trade, I mean, achieved the same thing. But with this move order, but by taking immediately, you actually just... you force what you want. You force them to take you. That's what you want. And they take you, and they take, and here. Which is the same thing, but the problem is now that their queen is blocked. They're blocking their bishop, so their option is that they have to move their queen to trade. But you're not going to do that. You're going to instead force what you want. In chess, you don't submit to the stuff your opponent wants. 9 times out of 10, it's better to do to force them to what you want to do. That's what you want. You don't want them to, because if you immediately take, you just give them free development. Yes, I know there is knight to b5, but they just go back and defend. We have same levels of development. The worst case scenario, just move it to c6, and the game goes on. But it's better to just not let them get what they want, right? Better to not let them get what they want. Just trade at your own terms. Now, sometimes you need to trade at their terms. Fine. Now, I missed knight b5, but winning just a clean pawn win, fine. Okay. F4 is also pretty good. The engine wanted me to trade this, which is just not human. Yeah, and I did a little bit of counterplay there, and, obviously knight hops in, here, check, and takes, and all of this was pretty fine. And all this was weird, but we did manage to do it. If rook went that way, there was this fork, which is just not pretty, so the way went that way, and then we brought up the king to try and connect the pawns. A3, rook a1 is just, I don't know how to explain it. Bishop here, fine, we just go rook h1 to go rook d1 next. And after this, we go rook d1, f4, discover attack on the pawn, and bishop to g3. The engine doesn't like it too much, but bishop g3 has a point of going king g2 and bringing back the king to the endgame. Takes, and, this, and, we bring the king, and, the rest of the game went pretty well. Yeah, let's go to the second game. Okay, so we're playing with the black pieces now. I chose Wendy for this one because it's an aggressive bot. I'll go e6, the French defense, with the whole idea of, counterattack in the center, depending on what, white plays. This is a normal variation, happens pretty oftenly. Alright, the knight c3, the knight variation, let's play the classical. Very old variation, very old opening. The theory is they push, and you go c5, and knight c6, and they go f4 to support their center, and you go c5. This is just well-known stuff. They don't usually take. It's very rare that they take, actually. A more accurate response would have been like, there's lines you can give up, the g-pawn, I'm pretty sure, but I don't really want to do them for obvious reasons. Let's go g6. This is a pretty not great structure. Oh, whoa. Oh, what? That's just a pawn loss, I don't understand. Okay. That's just a pawn loss, and I can probably go queen a5, but he's got queen f3, so there's nothing. Let's just go back. That's scary. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This knight is oh god. It can't quite go to d6 because it just loses the thing. It can't go quite there, so we're good. We're good. There are lines where you can't actually stop the knight from going to d6, and you're probably just cooked. We're lucky to have this. Just a general piece of advice: to not let knights like that just, wander in your position. Let's go here. Bishop g7. Cover the dark squares. Let's actually hop this knight forward. Just give a nice little position. I kind of want to take the dark square bishop to have no dark square rivals. And probably that's what I'm going to do. Takes with the king, that's crazy. Okay, taking with the king is crazy here. I cannot explain king takes. Like, I'm going to go knight to c6. I'm just going to normal development, right? Normal development. That's what we want. Okay, another trade has been offered. I don't really want to take. Let's go queen a5, check. Just force him to do something, and then I'll decide what to do. Okay, blocks with the pawn. Let's go bishop here. Just defend the little guy. Okay, not a bad move, but also not a understandable move. I could go h5, but you know what? Let's just keep it simple, stupid. Let's castle. Take like this, unless he does that. Queen b6, queen c7 is just slightly better in my opinion. There is that, but the light square bishop is generally just not a great piece to have in the board, and if you can get rid of it, it's probably gonna be good time for you. And now I have a bit of a threat here, knight to a5, which counterattacks the knight, forces pretty much, knight takes. But first, before we take the knight, you need to know what an in-between move is, or in German, Zwischenzug. We can just take immediately, obviously, and just, go into this. But we can actually give a check first, improve the positioning of our knight, and then take the knight. And we have a very strong knight on the square. And also there is a quick little fork here we can do. Now we can, of course, go and get the bishop, but I mean the light square bishop is just not a very terrifying piece in my honest opinion. So instead, what we're gonna do is go rook to c8, get the straight, and then probably double up on the c file and probably dominate our opponent, because really it's not a great position to handle here, if I'm being quite honest. And that just loses a queen. Sorry, but that loses a queen. Just gives me the queen. Thank you very much. And yeah, this is just going to be conversion time. This is just the phase of the game you need to go through every time. Let's go queen here. Try to get in with the queen. Defended by the rook. This wins a knight. And this is what generally happens when you are not careful in the opening. It's like very much mate, probably. It's not mate right now. But it should be made eventually. I'm not seeing it right now. Like, it's not made yet, obviously. We'll give a check. I can give another check. I can go here. I think this is just a mate, like straight. Yeah, he's just gonna sack all the pawns. And this is just checkmate. There we go. That's the bot. So what happened here is we got a nice little classical Steinitz, which is, all this and theory. The best move according to theory is bishop takes, and according to me. And after this move, actually, you could just castle. I don't know why I didn't do that. I think all of you were probably screaming for me to do that. G6 is also fine. Gives away a little bit of advantage, however. B4 is just a pawn loss. There's nothing to that. That's actually... This queen attack is actually a line. It's very common to happen. Now, queen a5, the bot wanted. I went here instead, which is just a little too bad. But I went, knight b6, obviously, to support an attack on the queen side, and then a6, kicking out the knight. If the knight went here, that's just very stupid. I mean, I'll just go here, and yes, you can infiltrate my dark squares, but I'll castle. You can try to attack me, but I have everything that I need. If you try to set up a checkmate, I'm just in time to block you, and you have nothing. Basically, you have nothing. That's it. You got no more attack, and you're probably gonna lose. So knight to d4, and bishop g7, and hopping in the knight like this. Taking the bishop wasn't necessary. I could have just developed a piece, but you know what? Fine. Get the bishop pair, and no dark square competition in the form of a bishop. Queen check was nice. Bishop d7 is a little bit pointless according to the engine, because the bishop doesn't go too much anywhere, but it's fine. We develop a piece, castles. Attacking the queen and all this was kind of pointless. Oh, there was this as well. Fine, I guess. Knight f5 is a little bit more human. And then, this in-between move, actually the engine wanted this sequence of, taking the check and then taking the knight. Okay. I felt like that was a little bit more simpler. And, what if, my knight just stands trapped there? I don't think he gets trapped. But I went for this. It's much more simpler to understand. And the concept behind of a discover attack and a discover check and an in-between move. Just an in-between move. I don't know why I said discover attack and discover check. I'm just tired. I'm sorry. Yeah, and just bishop takes knight, top engine move, then the bishop was very bad, and this just, allows this. The engine wanted to immediately take, but in some cases, you need to be a little patient. Like, even if the defend, it doesn't matter. You can take the knight, it's pinned. And this just won a queen, and we took the queen, and we actually found a mate in 4. We actually found a mate in 4, or a mate in 5. Like, this is all, I found a mate in 4. I'm pretty proud of myself. Generally, I sometimes just cannot find mate in 2s or mate in 3s because I have just brain farts. But yeah, that's the second game. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from my calculations and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.